about this yet.
You mentioned the rating agencies, and I mentioned this last week with one or two guests, and I want to get your opinion because I'm mystified. S&P Global Ratings, they cut the rating in 2011 when the debt went stand up, and they warned last week that a failure to increase this debt ceiling is more damaging to the US economy, potentially more damaging to the US economy. That's of Lehman Brothers. I can't join those dots, or what am I missing?
Well, again, that language was very surprising, given that we're here before, given that most people anticipate that there will be a compromise. But I suppose if you theoretically get to the position when there is a debt default, yeah, that would be pretty custom. That would be an enormous event to have the US bond market suddenly be in a situation of default. But
are we going to go back to that conversation about what exactly is a default then, as we find in other countries? Not rethinking.
Well, line two here uses technical default.
Exactly. So one of the stories we've got in front of us now this morning, it starts with the line, nobody doubts American debt, but then says, if Congress fails to lift the debt ceiling in time, what's known as a technical default would be on deck for Treasury markets. And they say that
14.1 trillion.
one that really delays interest and principal payments.
yes.
So when a delay is not actually a default.
Well, this is it, and this is again what the market is anticipating. Again, this is why you don't have this sense of panic. You get this sense of, well, they'll do something about it, and a technical default isn't a default. Nobody is pricing in an actual default, which is why the language used by S&P seems so aggressive to us. But I suppose theoretically, if you get to the situation where there is a default but nobody's anticipating it, it would be an enormous global event.
Okay, so that's a fair enough take on it. Let's talk about then what the Fed are going to deal with. They're going to deal with Harvey. They're going to deal with, and I say that in the most human sense of the word, they're going to deal with human tragedy, a $7 billion re-equity on its feet. Unemployment numbers are going to be skewed and all over the place along with inflation. What does that do to the Fed? Or should they just be stoic, do their job, and carry on? As normal, we will get back to normal in Texas. It's going to be fine.
Well, we are beginning to see estimates now from various economists suggesting that it will have a notable impact on economic growth in the US. Now that suggests that the Fed should perhaps hold off. If we are going to have this event, that is the economy, less reason for the Fed to put interest rates up. And certainly the market is not sold on the idea that the Fed is going to put interest rates up.
33 December rate hike probability, if you use the one that the effective fund rate, 33.8%. That's nowhere near enough for the Fed. The Fed typically looks what, 80?
Yeah, I mean, if they don't want to surprise the market, they need to come out quite a lot before December, wouldn't they, and tell the market that what they intend to do. Well, they don't want a surprise.
I think
It would be a surprise at 34%.
yes. I mean, they theoretically they've said they're going to hike 3 times this year, but of course, as we can see, only 33% of the market believes that. But again, if we look at the earnings data, Friday's payroll report, really benign earnings number again. This is why the market isn't sold on the idea of more tightening anyway. The interesting thing is, because of bond yields being so low,
2.17.
monetary conditions are really very lax in the US, despite the interest rate hikes that
The
we had.
GDP number, though, was strong, wasn't it?
It was indeed, but then if you've got the Hurricane Harvey suggesting that growth is going to slow down again, perhaps that number is too backward looking.
I'm looking at bond yields this morning, US Treasury bond yields, and it's 2.13%, which we're going down again. We're going through this year's lows. This is a double punch on the dollar, isn't it?
Well, the low yields is often the reason why a currency is weak, just as the simple sort of carry trade scenario.
Yes.
But of course, there are yields, and the fact that there's political disharmony in the US is another reason why the dollar is so weak too. But of course, the weakening of the dollar this year has been, a boon, you could say, to US exporters, and certainly loosened monetary conditions in the US really very substantially, really taking out the interest rate hikes that we've seen. So monetary conditions very, very loose, but then with inflation benign, perhaps that's correct.
Jane, thank you very much. Jane Foley, Senior Currency Strategist at Rabobank. She stays with us for our next conversation. Remember, if you're a Bloomberg customer, you can watch the show using the TV Go function, as well as getting the regular video stream. You also get to follow along with the charts and the functions that Manus and I referred to during the programming. And you can influence the conversation as well. You can click on the Ask the Guest a Question button on the screen.
Yeah, Jane's silly there. She's worried. And all of our other guests, hopeful. Coming up, we're going to talk about Theresa May. Is she planning the speech? What will be in the speech? What could inject urgency to the Brexit negotiations? And how effective could her intervention actually be? We discuss. This is Bloomberg.
Hmm.